Are we not doing video on this?
We don't do video. It's just
Oh,
it's too long. It's
okay.
if I were to show you something, and I think if the audience was video, we would do video, but we don't. Like I'd hate to say, "Hey, look at this," and then like lose everyone that's listening.
I didn't know. So,
No worries,
okay.
no worries. Good question.
Now you get to see my little thumbnail, which is absolutely terrible. I need to change it.
You look young.
Yeah, that
What
was
year
probably
was?
when I was like,
I
I
was
was
gonna
20
say.
probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, like 2010 maybe.
you just got on razors, stoked, wearing the
Yeah,
shirt.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Look at
Probably
me.
that's probably what it was. Yeah.
I think you look great.
Thanks. Is Ben on here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, hey, what's up, Ben?
Another beautiful day. There might be a little bit of an echo. I'm in a strange recording
You
place.
sound great. No, you sound great.
So,
Oh, you sound
well,
fine.
I mean, clearly, but
No.
all right. So I think we should start this off with a dumb joke.
All
What
right.
do you do? What do you do with a dirty sheep?
I have no idea.
Give it a bath.
Oh.
All right. This is why I edit the podcast, John.
Someone's been in quarantine with their kids too long.
Yeah.
No, well, to explain that's not original, clearly. But
Oh no.
so I'm at my in-laws lake house up in upstate New York,
Oh,
and
nice.
they have
Your
They have a
in-laws,
little-
in-laws? What?
yeah. So my wife's brother's wife's parents' house.
Well,
Well, their lake
Okay.
house.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. All
They're
right.
great people. So
I'm sure they are.
Sounds
I
great.
just never heard in-laws, in-laws. That's the first for me.
yeah, there's a lot of qualifiers there,
Yeah.
Too good.
and they have some tchotchkes in the bathroom, and one of them was a sheep, and it said bath. So I was like, oh, I can start this podcast off with a dumb joke tonight. So
Well, we all appreciate
welcome.
it. We all appreciate it.
I love how you use tchotchkes. That's like something my parents say. That's awesome. Like that's like it's like a Polish kind of thing. Or
yeah, true.
Eastern Europe kind of, something like that. I don't know. It's just something they would always say. That's cool. I haven't heard that in years. So
Isn't that the name of the restaurant in Office Space?
It is.
Tchotchkes?
okay.
There was a deli that we used to go to in Midland called Schlotsky's.
Oh yeah, they had
Oh,
those
yeah,
out
yeah,
there. Yeah. I don't know if they're
I've
still
had
around,
them.
are they?
I don't know, but there's stories that you'll hear at Woodward from Taylor, provided everything happens, that I'm not going to put on
There's
record.
definitely a Schlotsky's Deli in Boca where I'm from. Definitely. I've definitely seen it.
All right. They had them here in North Carolina, but they closed. And I remember having it once with my wife when we were still dating, when I visited her parents' place, who are my in-laws now. My in-laws, not my in-laws' in-laws, in Nashville. So I know that they were around, and I have had them. It's weird, right? They have this like
Yeah.
bread. The bread is kind of like like an English muffin, kind of, but it's not.
Oh, like a ciabatta. It was
Yeah.
a very, very long time ago that I had it. The only thing that I ever had from there beyond one visit was chips.
Well,
So,
I'm sure they were great.
well, there was an abundance of them.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I missed that chain. That was my wife's splurge. Even when she was trying to go gluten-free, she was like, oh, but Schlotsky's is the exception. Like, if I'm craving Schlotsky's, I got to do it. Because you can't really make that bread gluten-free. I think that's a very odd mix of yeast and whatever else they put in there.
All right.
So how's everyone been? What's this last couple weeks been like? Everything kind of stable with the COVID where y'all are at?
Well,
Getting there.
until this week, I thought it was stable, and then California just started jumping.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's just weird. Like they opened a bunch of things up, and like I don't think anyone really like listened to the rules. They just kind of were like, okay, we're allowed to have 25%. Let's let everybody in.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. Like the other night, my girlfriend's friend invited us to this bar, and she takes a picture, and she's like, "Oh, there's nobody here," and I hadn't been out. I hadn't been to a bar since like probably end of February.
Sure.
And I went with her, and we get there and it's like slammed, and no one's wearing a mask, and I'm just sitting there like with my mask, and I have my sweatshirt over my face too, and I'm ordering a beer, and like the bartenders have nothing on, and they're just like all happy, and I'm just like, this doesn't seem right. Like something's not right here.
It's the mix of wanting to get back to work because people need money and wanting
For
to
sure.
get back to normal, right? Because people are going crazy. But like seriously, might be a little early. Might be a little early, but I don't know if you've looked at the charts, but I mean, we're not dropping anytime soon. Did you see that we're banned from the EU now?
Yeah. I just read that now. Like I was just sending that to my girlfriend because I just texted it to her. I was like, well, I guess we had a trip planned to Italy in May, and we had to like postpone it all. And yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to go this summer.
No, I mean, unless you have a fake passport saying you're from Canada, right? Or from Mexico.
Yeah.
So where in Italy were you guys going to go? Is this a precursor to an announcement you may or may not be making?
No.
Okay.
No. I'll be honest with you. I'm not skating Rossies, so that's we'll just nip that in the butt. Right. Maybe that's because I've drank a beer already that I'll just nip that in the butt. But I'm not skating Rossies, so if anyone's listening, that's not happening. No, we were supposed to go to Milan for like a few days. I was gonna like skate with Jason Adriani for like a day or two, and then we were actually gonna meet like some of our friends from Florida, and then go to like Lake Como for a day, and then fly down to like the south and go to like the Amalfi Coast and like Naples, like the beautiful parts of Italy. I mean, all of Italy is beautiful, but like the real like scenic parts. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I had been to Milan before just to skate, but I had never been to like any other places. So I was like super excited to go with her. But yeah, can't do it now. So
it sucks.
Yeah, all good. I mean, shit,
it happens.
Going on, and
I think next year you'll probably be all right. I can't see this. I mean, again, I'm the optimist, right? But conservative optimist, I guess. But like, I think that this was a big scare. I think people are going to take it seriously after this week. Like, again, it's crazy, but I feel like all those governors, especially like in Texas and Florida, who are like, whoa, like, we opened early and that was probably a mistake. Let's pull back a little bit. And you can see them announcing like they were going to open Disneyland in California. Yeah. And it's like, well, and they're still planning on doing Disney World, but I don't think that's, I mean, they haven't had any announcements, but there was an announcement earlier this week that Disneyland is going to be extended until like they don't have an open date. And it's like, good. Like, I love Disney, and we had a trip planned. We have a trip planned for December. But we had a trip planned for May, and I'm really glad that we didn't go. But I'm seeing like on like Disney and like Universal YouTube channels, people going back to the parks, and it's like, that doesn't look like fun. Like there's 10-20% of the people who should be there. Everybody's in masks. Half the rides are closed. You can't go into most of the shops. It's like, ugh, like that wouldn't be worth the money. I mean, tickets are $120 per day. Like you could find much better things to do with your time.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. You can only go to Disney Springs so many times.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, sure. How's it by you, Ben? Like, as I know, like the governor's made like this like pact, like you have to quarantine if you travel to like New Jersey, Connecticut, New York. I think like if you're from a certain state, you have to quarantine for 14 days. I don't know what the truth in that is, but
yeah,
there is. It's all self quarantine based, from what I understand. Like I live in South Jersey, so I don't really. It's we're less affected in the county that we're in, and then where I travel to for work is it's still technically South Jersey, so we have less to worry about with that kind of stuff. But I mean, there is a lot of travel restrictions and stuff like that they're trying to keep people or to hold people to. But I mean, where we're at, we're a huge vacation spot. So we're right across the bridge from Ocean City, New Jersey, which is quote unquote America's resort town. Stupid. Yeah. And like usually like Thursday night and Friday is a nightmare coming south on the Parkway in New Jersey.
Sure.
And it's turn it into a fucking nightmare.
Is it bad now?
And then it's not as bad as it typically is.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last couple of years has been really, really bad. Now it's just like, this sucks. But I mean, I'm really lucky I don't have to deal with much of that because of my work schedule. So
sure.
I mean, I'm glad for that. But they actually, some of the states in Texas, one of the Texas governor, I guess, was saying how if you travel to New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut, then you're gonna have to quarantine before you come back to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 of my friends are coming to What Year Is It? And they're coming from Texas. And they're just like, oh, I hope this doesn't cause a problem. I was like, you're good. You're flying into Philly. You're not even going to be in New Jersey.
That's going to be an interesting one. So we've been talking a lot on the Slack about What Year Is It and what we're going to do, like what's going to happen. I still am 99% sure I'm not going just because of the risk. Like the amount of people, like I don't know if you've skated with a mask on, and either of you, it sucks.
I have. Yeah, it's horrible.
And I don't think that's going to be a fun thing to do at all. And good luck social distancing on a mini ramp, right? I mean, you're always going to be on top of some sweaty monkey. If it's not me, it's you. Like, I mean, it just does not seem like a fun time. Add to that, cabins, like.
Oh, I know, man. That's where I'm like, yeah. I basically have taken the stance that until my work allows me to travel, which I travel a lot for work, so I won't go anywhere. So I probably will be out from What Year Is It? Like, I wasn't able to go film from the promo in the state I wanted to film it in, and then I'm not able to see my parents right now, and we're in Florida. Yeah. So until like I'm cleared to travel like from my work, I just don't feel it's like responsible of me to like travel for a non-work related thing, and then if I get sick, then I'm just being kind of reckless. I don't know. That might be a very conservative approach, but like I just feel like if I'm good to work, then I can do anything I want. That's kind of how I look at it. So I don't know.
It
makes sense.
Being an adult, I mean, it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm in the same boat. I think if my kids are back at school, then I will go. But if they are not back at school, then why would I go to a weekend with a bunch of dudes skating? Like that seems like the same sort of risk. And it's like there's a reason why they wouldn't be back. I don't think they're going to be back. Like again, I haven't called any shots. I haven't said that we're canceling our trip. I know that the vibe on the Slack, especially for a lot of people who are flying, like airplanes are sketchy right now. And there's just no way to prevent circulation of the air. Like, unless everybody's masked up and you're still like every other row, like aisle and window seats only. Like that's the only way to really keep distance from each other. That just seems unlikely. Like,
especially on if you're flying into like I don't know how many people are, but if, like flying into State College, like you fly on like a regional jet. So they're only 2 and 2 mostly. Like most of those jets are laid out 2-2. So like you're definitely going to have to sit next to somebody. It's not like they have the space to put like an empty slot in between. So yeah, that'll be definitely like super interesting, like how that's going to go down.
And that's the biggest concern, is that the airlines can't make money unless they ship, they fly like 90% full. So they're canceling flights because it's not in their interest. Like, they're not the train, they're not the buses. They don't get the corporate or the government, like, they're a private company. If it's not worth money, like they're not going to do it. Like, why would they lose money just to be nice? Like, it doesn't, I mean, to keep customers, I guess, but I remember, weren't you saying, John, that like you had a flight out here and then it got canceled and then every flight that day got canceled? Like there's some crazy scheduling things.
So like the second time, like I think the first time I changed it to April, and then like when we canceled it in March, and then I changed it again to June. When I changed it to June, they had me going like San Diego, Salt Lake City, Atlanta, and then Atlanta, Raleigh. And then on the way home, it was like at like Raleigh to Detroit to Seattle, and then Seattle to San Diego. And it was like, damn, like the risk involved is just being in all these different airports. It's like it has nothing to do with like the flights. Cause I mean, the planes themselves like are pretty clean with the filter system and everything. But like the fact that I have to go through all these international airports, like just to get there, like I was like, dang, this is rough. And yeah, that's why I eventually called it. I just got the refund yesterday too, which was like,
oh, good.
It took them like 35 days to like process it, because they've just been processing so many refunds.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Wow.
They're not set up for that. I mean, nobody's set up for this.
No one is. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad everyone's safe.
Same.
You mentioned, so talk about skating for once. We just kind of talk about whatever's on the mind. And I remember talking, you got your Fitty Fitty frame this week, which I have a little bit to do with. I saw we could talk about that, but I saw a post that you were somebody's counselor at Woodward. I had no idea you were a counselor at Woodward.
Yeah.
When was this?
2 summers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Ooh. Oh man. So like, I'd say it's like 2010, 2011. I was like 18 or 19 years old. Like when you're 18, you can work at Woodward.
Okay.
So I had like gone as a camper at like 16 and 17. Like at 16, my parents sent me there, and then I won. They do like a little thing, like it's called the TAP program. I don't know if they do it anymore, but basically what they do is like they have these like contests throughout the week. And if you win them, you basically win, free weeks at Woodward. So my second year at Woodward, it was all for free. And awesome. Then the next year I just applied, for a job, and I got a job as like at first I was like they call it like the skate park watch guy. Like you just literally, you're just like stationed at one of the skate parks, and you just make sure like the kids wear their pads, and you have to sweep up, and just keep an eye on things, And then I think like the second week I worked there, it was weird. Like Ross Anthony was like the inline director at the time. And he's like, hey, I need you to be like an instructor. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. No problem. So yeah, like I was an instructor. I taught blading for like 2 weeks that summer. And then I think it was like 3 weeks the following summer.
That is awesome.
I had just like started kind of like getting known in skating. Like I just got on Volo. I was skating for Volo at the time, and like some other like skate shop or something. And it was cool because I remember I asked John, I was like, hey, can you send me like a bunch of stickers? And he sent me all those ones. Like, do you remember when Volo had that like logo? It was like kind of like the caption logo.
Yeah, totally. Like the speaking bubble sort of.
Yeah. So what I did was like with all my campers, I like put their names on them and gave them all like that sticker, like the Volo sticker.
Awesome.
So that like, and they were all wearing it in the like group photos and stuff. And then I remember John actually shared that on the Volo site. That was pretty cool.
It must have been really cool for the kids too, right?
Yeah. It was just like, just something to get them stoked. That wasn't like the same old Woodward, stuff. So yeah, that was cool. That was like a good experience.
That's really cool.
I still have like friendships with all the people that work at Woodward, not just East, but West. Like it opens so many doors for me. Like, I mean, I know everybody in the Woodward family, so it's like awesome. Like it's just a cool, like it's a good like set of people to know, like it's just, they're all amazing people. They do amazing work for not really the most amount of money. Like they take big pay cuts and they do a lot. So it's pretty cool.
This was Woodward East, right? Because you were in Florida at the time?
Yeah, that was, Woodward East. But like what I'm saying is like, because I met all these people, it opened doors for me at West too. Like when I moved out to California.
Oh, got it.
I remember I messaged Miguel and he was like, oh, come on out, like no problem at all. And that kind of stuff definitely would have never happened for me if I didn't, make all those connections at East.
Sure.
Yeah.
Really cool. I mean, like everybody, I think grew up dreaming of going to Woodward, and my first experience was this last year at what year is it? So,
yeah,
being able to, grow up and be a counselor is like, that's like the dream, like go to Woodward and get paid to do it. And like, I'm sure you're working crap jobs and, like you were saying, sweeping up and yelling at kids to wear their helmets, but still you're at Woodward. Like,
yeah, I mean, I was 18. Like I just like finished high school and like I was getting ready for college, and like, I had never, like, I'd worked like, little office internship jobs, but like, I didn't ever have like, it didn't matter the money because I was like, I can skate for free and like they're giving me all the food I want. And, it's not a big deal. Like, it's like, yeah, they're not paying you a lot, but who cares? You're just like able to skate these amazing things,
Yeah, you're working in Valhalla.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
Yeah. And at that time, like, Cloud9 still had like the perfect down ledges, and like there's a couple other things that like Woodward East doesn't have now that they had back then. Like, personally, like, I think the school was a lot better back then, and there's the playground. Like, the playground was like a better setup in my opinion. But I mean, it's still cool. Like, it's cool that you guys got to skate it last year, because like I haven't skated it. The last time I was at Woodward East was 2015. I went for like a weekend with like a bunch of dudes. But yeah, like they hadn't redone the cage like to make it the outdoor concrete park. I didn't skate like any of the Snake Run or the new Plaza parks or anything. So
oh wow,
it definitely
Snake
looks
Run is so
fun.
fast.
Yeah, it looks awesome. It looks so sick.
They had to block part of it off so you wouldn't carry so much speed into the second half of it. Like when you make that sweeping right turn, they blocked it off so you can't go all the way through it.
I wonder if that's a inliners go too fast rule, or if it was always like that.
I think it's an everyone goes too fast.
Yeah, probably. Probably bad design. Like, oops.
Yeah. We made it too good.
Too good, yeah. We what's the outside wood one? Is that the playground, or is that the
outdoor street? That's
outdoor
like
street.
Yeah.
Okay.
That used to be different too. That one, it's way different now.
Well, it was torn down apparently, so they're rebuilding it now.
Oh, they're rebuilding it again.
Yeah.
Wow.
As far as I knew, is that right, Ben?
Same far as I know. Like they tore it down basically right after, what year is it? This year or this past year. So, but I mean, like a lot of the masonite and everything was all warping, and screws were pulling out because it was swelling and stuff like that. So it was due for it, But I mean, this can't be a good time for it to have happened because of the less amount of income that's coming in, or revenue, I should say, that's coming into Woodward. Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure they have some sort of a contingency plan for shenanigans to happen.
I would hope so. I mean, they've got plenty of spots to, like, they've continued to build. It's not like they've closed things down and said, all right, we're going to return this to farmland or anything like that. There's so many skate spots there now. Yeah.
The funny thing is, like, they've changed it. This will be the third time. So when I was like a camper, it was like I can't even explain how it is. Like, basically, like, they had this one part, it was like a double hump, like, roll-in, and they had this big rail going down it. So, like, in the middle, if you, like, messed up, you could, like, it went up to your face. So, like,
oh my God,
you could get, like, super broke off. And, like, it was, like, I feel like the original outdoor street was catered a lot towards inline. Like, because that was, when it was built in, like, the late 90s, like, inline was huge.
Sure.
So they catered it to them. And, like, if you go back and watch, like, some of the Colony of Summers that Dave Payne made, like, you can watch like Kilgore and Chris Edwards and all them just like ripping that place up, like Mike Bennett, Clark Kirkman, like, I mean, just like doing stuff that like no one could even do now. Like, it's unreal. And then they changed it, I think, in like, it was like the last summer that I worked there, they changed it up to what it is, what you guys skated. So it'll be interesting to see what they build. I'm sure it'll be awesome.
I hope that we get to go out.
And even if it's not, the transition is going to be perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
So speaking of Mike Bennett, like, I didn't really know who he was. Like, I'd heard the name, throughout the years. And then the first time that I'd seen his name and stuff like that, but like he wasn't like a quote unquote household name, in my rollerblading household, which was myself. But the first time that I took a trip out to Woodward was in 2017 or 2018 in February. They did that community skate night. I'd heard about it somehow, and then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. talked to the wife, said, look, I want to go do this. I want to rent a car because I had an SUV that was a piece of garbage. I want to rent a car. I want to drive there and then drive home the same night. And she's like, how much driving is that? I was like, more than I want to do. But when else am I going to get to skate Woodward for $20?
Exactly.
Of course.
So,
yeah.
Well, plus the rental, but whatever. So I did it. The trip there took me like 4 hours and 15 minutes. The trip home took like almost 6 because I had to stop a few times because I kept falling asleep. So, but
that's actually less. That's less time than it takes me to drive to Woodward West. So that's good.
Yeah, it's just where I'm at. So, luck, quote unquote, luck of the draw. So Mike Bennett shows up like halfway through the session and just throws on a pair of carbons and just starts dropping in and doing these real long, real fast backsides. And then all of a sudden he just does this ridiculous backside fast slide. Perfect.
Yep.
From like one side of the Cloud9 Mini to the other, drops in and then just does this true mistrial that like he was trying to murder the coping. And I was looking at him like, how the fuck? And it was amazing. And like you could hear every single bolt on his frame hit that coping. And it was angry. I was very impressed.
Classic Mike, dude. Like I think a lot of people don't realize like Mike was one of the first like people to do like 540 true Mizus back in the day. Like, I mean, was doing them in 99. Like, there's a clip he
totally
actually
see him do that.
He just posted at like one of the ASAs. He wins the best trick. He gaps over the channel on the vert ramp, like disaster 540 true Mizus, like on a vert ramp, like
Jesus.
And it was like, I don't think anyone had done that at the time. Like, and I mean, this is how he was skating even like when I was like a camper and instructor. Like, he was amazing. Like, I think the reason why he may have not been a household name is because he was like always at Woodward. But I mean, as far as like contests and like on the ASA circuit, like he was very well known. And I think his last sponsor was like Rossi's. Like Rossi's, he was pro for them through like maybe like 2005, and then they restructured or whatever. And then I think like USD's always just kind of like hooked him up, just said, you're a sick skater, Mike, we'll hook you up and help you. So yeah, he's always been incredible, like amazing dude, and an amazing dude, like off the skates too.
I think Matthias and USD do that a lot, where they're like, we have an established team, but you are amazing. Like, let us know if you need anything. Like, we'll hook it up. We don't have room for you on a team. I don't know that you even want to be on a team, but if you ever need skates, give me an email.
I'll never get one of those emails.
No, you won't. Unfortunately. What do you guys want to talk about first? So how it's been a busy couple of weeks for Jon. You want to start like
how's it feel, Jon?
I mean,
it's been kind of crazy. I mean, it feels good right now. Like I'm getting like messages every day of people like, telling me they're buying the frames, which is awesome. I'm also getting threats too. Like if they're like mad, like they're like telling me like if the frames sell out, that they're going to hold me accountable for them selling out. And I'm just like, I have nothing to do with that. Like, I mean, just go to your shop or go on the site and just get them, man. Like, I mean,
yeah,
but the support has been pretty incredible. Like I didn't expect it like this much. So I'm really, really like fortunate and like really grateful for everything. Like seriously, like everyone, like it, to see like certain people like send me like a message, like with an invoice, and they're just like, yeah, this is what I want, So it's pretty crazy. So I'm really grateful for everything.
I've had plenty of messages. So we've done 4 frame releases. Frame releases are a little different than wheel releases, but I can compare it to Stefan's wheel. And releasing a product is one thing, but releasing a product in conjunction with a skater, it's a different thing altogether. The level of like personal contact that people get with the product is incredible. I get so many messages that are just like, hey, I really want to support Stefan, or I really want to support Jon. I got these, like, which ones should I get? Or like, what size do I need? Or whatever. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's something that I don't think, my generation growing up, I don't think I ever bought, Randy Spicer Crayola wheels to support Randy. You know what I mean?
You just wanted him.
Because they were cool, and I
Yeah.
thought he was a cool skater, but I never made the connection that I was supporting a skater by purchasing a product with their name on it. I don't think I ever did. Any pro skates, any wheels, anything like that. It just never crossed my mind. And then I got too close to the metal with the fitty fitty thing, so it was like I didn't, it didn't really count. But
I think it's the times though, definitely.
Maybe.
What? Yeah. It's just that people nowadays are like this. I mean, this is just my opinion. Is like they see, just as like the couple like the past like 3 weeks. It's like Derek Henderson got a Razor skate.
Mm-hmm.
I got a Pro Frame. Carlos Burnell got a Pro Skate from USD, and it's just like all these people, like all these supporters of like all three of us, like they've been wanting this kind of stuff forever. So they're just like, fucking finally, like, give me that, give me that, give me that. And it's so awesome. Like, it was so sick to see like Derek's skates sell out in like, 3 days, and then I don't know about. No, I'm not sure if Carlos's skate, like, I don't know if it's even on sale yet. I'm not like, I don't really follow Power Slide, but I mean, I'm sure that's going to go like candy, it's a great looking skate. So
I saw somebody get a pair from Oak City. So I know that they are out there, but I don't know how quickly they sell. Their production line is different, I think. I know that Razor's going into it, and we should probably talk about that too. But I know Razor's got really stung by the COVID delays. So there was a lot of like pent up demand for a Razor skate, and there was nothing. Like the warehouse was dry. They didn't even have Genesis left. It's like I can't sell anything. So then, Derek's skate comes out, and of course it's like not only is it a Derek Henderson skate, which everybody loves to support, but it's a new Razor skate, and it's a black SL, which
black skate,
is perfect, right? I mean, it really hit all of the check boxes. I don't know about the Bernal. I don't know that Powerside announces availability and how quickly things sell. That's a slightly different skate, and I think that because it doesn't come complete, I think it's missing a bit of the market. Like, especially these people who are getting back into it over the last couple of months, they want to just buy a skate and go skate. And I don't know. Again, I'm
surprised it wasn't a complete, to be honest.
You would think it would be, right? I don't know that they've done. Have they done any completes? Yeah, they did the Eugen one.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
they do it all the time.
And Carlos rides for Kaiser and Undercover, so it's not like it's not like there's any cross branding or anything like that. So
exactly.
Yeah, that is very interesting that they just did a boot only.
Might be a price point thing, but I would think
maybe
I would think that something with a frame and a wheel would sell much better. But it would be
maybe
expensive,
Carlos is
right?
transitioning to frames. I don't know.
Maybe.
He stayed with me like when he came to the US like 2 years ago, and he actually showed me that. And he was like, at the time, they weren't sure about giving him a skate. They were like on the fence, telling me
that's amazing to me. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said to him. I was like, "What? Like, are you serious?" And then he dropped I remember he dropped like his little US edit, and then he hits me up like 4 months later. He's like, "Yeah, they're gonna happen. It's just like gonna be
awesome.
A year." Like, I was just stoked.
Wow.
Like, I was like, "You fucking deserve it, bro." Like,
yeah.
And it's funny. We were talking like yesterday, and he's like, I was just like, "Yeah, my frames will look good on your skates," and he's like, "Yes, bro." Yes.
A lot of white, man. There's a lot of white right now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that edit that John was talking about, where when Carlos was in the U.S., so good. Like I would probably go so far as to say that Carlos Bernal is the European Aaron Feinberg. # fight me in the comments.
He's
but I mean,
definitely like on rails for sure. Like, I mean, he does like the gnarliest rail transfers for sure.
Yeah, really, just a big shit. Like, it's absurd.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of familiarity with Carlos. I don't know why, but maybe because I missed so many years of it that over the last few years, I haven't seen much of him.
He kind of like came out of nowhere with like his first hammer edit like 4 years ago. Like, I mean, he was always good. Don't get me wrong, but then like dropped this edit about like 3-4 years ago. I think it was for Undercover.
Okay.
And he's just like 3 soul, 3 acid, this gnarly drop rail, and full cab true soul on this crazy this drop out rail thing. And I mean, it was just like above and beyond what he had ever, pushed. And then like he made another part that was even just as sick, and then another part. Like he just kind of kept, upping the ante. And I think it's all due to like Barcelona. Like Barcelona at the time had like him, Michel Prado, Nick Lomax, and Yuri Botello, and they all were just like hungry, they wanted to keep kind of like not so much as outdo each other, but just like keep pace, and like so all their sections just like kept getting better and better and better. And so that's why you see like this crazy progression from like him, Lomax, Michel, and Yuri.
That's amazing. What a scene. Like Barcelona definitely is like the
and
old
Mary's there.
And
too.
Mary, yeah,
Mary.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, not to mention the non-heavy hitters.
There's so many good skaters. This guy, he dropped a section. He rides for the G Boots a couple months ago. I was watching it on YouTube. It's so good. Like, yeah, they have a really strong scene. Mark Moreno's living there too. So he dropped his like best VOD like 2 years ago. That thing was amazing. The Vibrolux one. Like, so yeah, they all are like going after it, which is awesome.
It's so interesting comparing this to like late 90s Southern California, where like Orange County was the place to be, and either you were in Huntington Beach or Costa Mesa or whatever that, Irvine, like all those areas. And the reason for that was it was a U.S. based sport, like it kind of came up in the U.S. It was kind of a California thing, and the industry was predominantly down there. Like Senate, we were down there, Fiction, Medium, Mind Game, like all of the companies were down there. Barcelona doesn't have any industry, does it? They have a ton of skate shops and a super thriving scene, but there's no like, I'm sure there are companies, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's like clothing companies, but there's not like a skate company or a wheel company that's like worldwide.
They have like Ollie's shop. And Ollie worked for Powerslide for years, and developed like a lot of products for them while like living in Barcelona. And just their skaters there are all heavy Powerslide. So I definitely think that has a lot to do with it. Like not only like now, but in the past, like they had the Powerhouse for a while. Like that's where like Richie and Dominic stayed and stuff. And everyone was going there, like all the Shadow guys, all the USD guys were going there. Like even Deshi, like when Deshi was still like around, like they were all going to Barcelona like consistently. So I think that's another reason why it's definitely like gotten so strong. Just having that presence of Powerslide there for so many years kind of definitely helped.
It's awesome. What a great
Andy had an apartment there. I don't know if he still does, but he has an apartment in Barcelona too. For like the Razor or Sunshine guys. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I don't know if he still has it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, some of those Powerhouse edits were really, really dope. Like, there's not a lot of them that I can really watch again because it's, pretty dated dubstep music, but
you can watch with the sound off.
I usually do. But
they had a tour with all the AMs, like Show of the Force. It was like Burston was on USD, Jeff Dahlness, Brett Dasovic, a couple other guys, and those are some pretty wild. Nick Lomax was still AM, dropping just hammers, dude. Like, I mean, gnarly stuff. Like if you watch those edits,
I'll have to find them. I've never seen them. I remember the Powerhouse name and how that was like a thing, and I remember Dominic like on his Rehab edit. Is that what it is?
That's exactly. I was just going to bring that up. That Rehab BCN.
I remember seeing that, and that's like my only exposure, I think, to the Barcelona scene from that era. Now, though, I mean, it's where everybody is. Like that's, I don't know. It's pretty incredible. Just one city. I don't know why, of all places, that one city. I mean, have you ever skated there, John?
Twice, yeah. There's like an edit of me with Yuri online.
Okay.
It's like on the Razors page. I did like a split thing with him. This is in 2014, and I went there in 2013 too, just for like myself personally. And it's amazing. Yeah, it's like an amazing city.
Yeah.
Very spread out though. Like the spots are like they're not close. So like everyone, I think a lot of people are like a little naive when they go there. They just think, oh, I'll get an apartment like, you know, this place and I'll be able to skate everything. And then they don't realize, oh, I have to take the metro for like an hour to get to this spot. So
that far.
That was definitely like a little bit of a shock. Yeah, like some of the spots, like you see them skating, like they're on the outskirts, so they have to take the metro like an hour and a half to get there. So yeah, it's not as close as like everyone thinks it is.
Well, then John Julio lied to me.
What did John say?
What did he say?
Well, I don't think it was John's. I think it was either Victor or B. Smith that said it. Like, there's like, oh, you can skate from spot to spot in Barcelona. Like, did they build this for skating?
You can't. I mean, you can. I mean, like, there are areas that like there are a lot of spots like close, you know, together. Like the Forum Ledges is like this whole area. Like, you know, there's like literally 7 or 8 spots within the Forum that you've all like seen and recognized in edits. But if you want to get to like the stuff you really want to skate, like the stuff that like you see and you're like, oh, I want to go there. Like a lot of the stuff is spread. Like the Barceloneta ledges are like the famous bank to ledges things.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Ankles. Like those are like 3 or 4 stops from Forum, or I'm not sure exactly, but it's not like right next to each other. You got to take the train.
Sure.
So
someday, Ben, you and me,
we'll do it.
We'll get out there.
My passport's good till what, 2028? Let's go.
I might even skate flat with you, considering the situation, trying to get around.
Go in the summertime for sure. It's like a totally different vibe there in the summer. It's like everyone's outside. It's hot, but I mean, like, it's awesome. It's like it's such a great city. Like everyone's really nice. Like, you know, it's cool, really cool.
That's my dream. What was it like shooting with Dave Payne again? Have you ever shot with Dave before?
No. Dreamed about it.
You knew Dave.
Was it intimidating as hell?
So, the first day, like when he came down to San Diego, like when we had everything set, it was him and Jess, and like they got out of the car, you know, and like it was awkward because like I didn't know how to say hi to them because it was Corona, so like I didn't know like if I'd shake their hands or I just like kind of waved, and you know I'm already like a little socially awkward as it is, so it was just like,
sure,
what's up, you know, and then I just like. I don't know. I just like started going at it, and I was like, my heart was racing. And then I like my first like big trick I did with him. Like the way he kind of interacted with me, he was like, I'm used to like filmers just like yelling at me, not yelling, just like going, "Come on, you bitch! Like get the trick," you know. Like even though it's like something scary, like that's how my friends are. That's how like the filmers are that I've worked with. Sure. It's nothing bad. It's just like friends, you know, they're just like, come on, like get it, you know. But Dave is just like, Dave is like so positive. Like he's just like, you got this, man. Like get it. Like even at like try like 15, get it. You got it. Like this every time. And so like after that, it was like perfect. Like it was fine. And then it just everything kind of flowed together, and you know, and I did that like final trick in the promo, you know, for Dave. And I honestly, at first I told him I didn't want to skate anything like big. I was like, I didn't want to like risk getting hurt and having to go to the hospital, you know, like, of
course.
I had literally just recovered from 9 stitches in my shin, and I was like getting used to new skates too. And like all this stuff. So like, I was like, oh, I don't know. And then I remembered this drop rail, and I was like, yeah, I want to do this. And the trick I had planned originally, like, didn't really work because I don't know if you can tell from the promo, but it only has like a 3-foot run up on that drop rail.
Yeah.
So I had to change it up a little bit. And I was like, damn, I'd always been good at backside to mistrials, and like, I'd never seen anybody do that on a drop rail. So I was like, all right, let's do it. And yeah, luckily it worked out, and I was actually stoked on it. And it's funny. I've gotten a lot of messages about it. Like people were like, I did not expect that from you. You know, and I like that, you know, like that's cool when I can like kind of just get people hyped on something new. So it worked out. So yeah, filming with Dave was great, and shooting with Jess was awesome. Jess is like a machine. Like Jess is ready to shoot before I was even like on the rail, which is awesome. Like I never had to wait for him, you know, like he never like made me redo a trick for his photo. Like he always was like on point.
I think he's shot so much.
Yeah,
that he's I know my limits. I know what I can push and what I can't. And he's like, they're going to skate and I'm going to miss it. So it's like, he is business. You know what I mean? Like he'll make jokes and everything, but still like he gets the job done. Like it's so
he was
so
so
amazing.
happy too. He was like he, you know, it'd been a while since he shot, and he was like, he's like, oh, I miss this, man. Like I miss this stuff. Like it's so great. Like it's just, he loves like the raw element to it and everything. So
he's a skater. I mean, that's, we forget like all these photographers or, you know, whatever, they all kind of got the same bug as we did. And that's how they got into it. You know, they wanted to skate and they were like, well, what else can I do that's creative? And and that's how, you know, Dave picked up the camera, and that's how Jess picked up the camera. It's like, this is the way that I can contribute. Like, I'm not going to be a pro skater anymore. Maybe I can contribute by photography or videography or whatever.
Dude, Dave got a clip one day with me, and that was really awesome. Like, it's a spot that you'll see in my upcoming thing with him down the road. But
what upcoming thing?
Upcoming, yeah. I haven't really talked about this, but I don't know how much I'm allowed to say. But just like, we're working on something. I don't know.
We don't have to push.
We don't have a name. We don't have anything. We're filming together. Let's just put it that way.
Just call it down the road.
There you go.
But it was like this spot, and he was like super hyped on it. And like while I was warming up, he's like, "Is it cool if I skate?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude." And he like laced it, dude. Like got like 50 years old, laced it like so good. Pro. Like it was so sick. It was so awesome. Such a cool experience with Dave.
That's gotta be a weird question to have someone like Dap say, "Hey, can I skate this with you?" It's like, yeah.
I was like, of course you can do whatever you want, Dave. Like, I mean, like, I think he was just like, I think he was worried because he thought maybe I'd be like annoyed because he wasn't setting up the camera. But I'm, dude, like I think this is awesome that you're skating. Like do it. No.
It probably gets you a different trick, a different like style as well. Like if you are all business, like, you know, we got to get this shot, that's going to produce a different level of like relaxed style, you know? Like if you go out there and you're just sessioning and it's like the guy shooting the video is sessioning with you, it's like, yeah, let's have fun. You know what I mean? Let's go out and shoot.
I prefer it. Like I hate going out with just like a filmer and just skating. It honestly is like, I mean, I can do it, but I love having someone with me to skate. Actually, my buddy Steve has been coming out like every time I've been going out filming, and like Steve he's also a photographer. So like if Jess doesn't come, he'll also shoot photos, but he's an amazing skater too. So like he'll get clips and it's awesome. Like when he's skating with me, I feel so much more relaxed and so much more centered because like, I don't feel like all the pressure's on me. It's just like, I can just skate, you know, I'm just skating with friends, you know, it's like, it's definitely been like the best thing ever, like having him while I'm filming with Dave, because it takes some of that like pressure off me for sure.
Yeah. You're not in the spotlight, you know, it's not, exactly. You need to perform. It's like, you're just skating with some friends.
Exactly. Yep.
That's really awesome. I'm so just personally, I'm so happy that Jess got out. I've been talking with him. So we talked 3.5 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, about bringing the company back. And he was, you know, very deep in the physical therapy stuff that he does. And he just didn't have time. And he didn't have the passion either. You know, it's like he kind of got burned out from blading. I mean, he was in it for 20 some odd years, 30 some odd years. I mean, forever. And I don't blame him for wanting to take a break. But when I mentioned that, you know, I introduced you and I'm sure that you guys chatted before, but I said, hey, you know, we're going to do a program with Jon. Would you be down to shoot? And he's like, oh wow, like I haven't shot in, you know, X amount of years. Like, and I'm like, are you at all interested? And he's like, yeah, I would love to. Like that sounds like a lot. Like you could see in his, it was just texts, but you could see like the progression of it was like, I'm a little uncertain to wait a second, this is what I do. Like I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this. You know what I mean? And then I mean, hearing from him after you guys shot, he's like, wow, like had a great session with Jon. He sends me like iPhone clips of Dave Payne shooting you for a clip, like when he wasn't shooting photos. Like he was follow camming Dave, follow camming you. And it was just like you could just see him happy. And that made me personally really happy. Because
it was awesome.
It's great to see, again, people go back to what they're passionate about. And you know Dave loves doing video, and you know Jess loves shooting photos, and just giving him a chance to do it again. Like, I think it's a really fun project. I am a little bummed out that the COVID thing happened. So we did have a plan that you were going to come out. The whole reason why the flights got canceled and everything, that you were going to come out here and shoot, and we couldn't
with Ryan.
With Ryan Timms. Who
he did all the product stuff, the product shots.
Exactly. So I did the drop for the products, and he was able to do the product shots. But he was totally down to help out. But obviously, it's hard to do if he's in North Carolina and you're in California. So thankfully, Dave was able to help out at the last minute and did the edit and got the clips and everything. It really was a fun project. I thank you for having the time to work with us on this, but most of all, just the flexibility and like the I don't know, like the open mind of we're making this up as we go along. Like we're trying to do, like I had a vision in my head of how this product should be released, because we've done, like I said before, we've done team products before. We've never really done a pro frame. And I always felt that wheels are wheels, and to take nothing from Stefan's wheel, you know, I love Stefan and I think that his wheel means a lot, but I feel like a frame is on a different level, and then a boot, like a skate, is on a different level. Like there's different levels of things, and I wanted to make sure that this was a real big thing. Like I feel like we don't give out frames very often. You know, frames are expensive to make, and like they don't sell fast. You know, wheels people wear out pretty quickly, and you know, at $40 or less for a set of 4, people are game to get some wheels, skate them once, and if they're not feeling them, they're not feeling them. They put them on the wall, and they're like, cool. Like I was able to support this skater or this company or whatever. Like I feel like a frame is more of an investment. And I think people want to get that investment back. They want to feel like I'm getting this product. I'm going to skate it for a year. Like most people actually skate their frames for like a year, 2 years. Like they'll skate them until they die because, you know, why not? So I wanted to make sure that the product announcement was like on that level. And again, I couldn't be happier. You mentioned Steve. Steve did shoot some of the stills that we're using on the postcards that, you know, we send out with orders and we sent to shops that show off the frames and everything. Steve's an amazing photographer too. So it's like, I don't know how the mix of Steve and Jess worked out, or if they were able to shoot together at all, but that must have been
awesome.
Fun.
It was awesome because Steve was like, he was like studying Jess. It was funny. Like he was like he was basically like taking notes. Cause like, one of the first things that like Jess did was like he used a light meter, you know, when he was getting everything, and Steve doesn't use that anymore, and he was just like, whoa, he's like Jess
still
is so
uses
precise.
that?
He's so no, he was like, Jess is like so precise. He's like this is why he's amazing, you know. He still uses like, you know, every little detail. So yeah, it was actually pretty cool, and I think Steve was like really hyped to be out there with Jess, you know. Like I don't think many current blade photographers have ever met Jess. So like, and Steve is like Steve is from a generation even before me, you know, so he knows more than I do. So it was like it was a huge deal for him.
That's
so
so
he was
great.
like so stoked. Yeah.
I'm really happy. I couldn't be happier with the way that this came out. Again, I think it's kind of setting the bar pretty high for the next the next pro frame or release that we're gonna do. But it's you know, it's the way that I think it should be done. Like, get the band back together. You know, let's do quality photos. We don't have we have one mag, but we don't have much in the way of like a print magazine or a way that we can show off our photos other than Instagram, and that's like 500 pixels. Like, that's nothing.
When I told him that he was getting like the postcard, like Steve was like, he was so stoked. He was like, what?
So
what?
Like, did I send those out to him yet, or do you want me to send them to you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'll give you his address if you just want to send him direct.
Why don't I do that? I'll get them after this, of course. Don't give me the address now. But I'll send him a package with some stuff so that he can be stoked on it. Yeah, cool. I love the postcards. They came out great. You on one side, Stefan on the other side. Really nice balance between the two. I love that your shot says San Diego in the background, because I definitely associate you with that San Diego. Like, I know that you're a Florida, like, born and raised, but like San Diego's where you live. You know what I mean? Like, that's
San Diego is me now. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I love Florida. That's my home always.
Sure.
But you know, I think part of growing up is like finding, your new place and like where you were at in life. And I think San Diego is that spot for me. And like, that's where I've like created my life. I met my girlfriend. We've been here 3 years together. And like, I just finding even like my career, not only in skating, but in like real life, my real career, like I've all found that in San Diego. So it's like kind of like my spot per se. So.
One of the
that's awesome.
So this is we get whenever we have somebody on, I always ask the Patreon supporters if they have any questions for the guest. And one of the questions I thought was really, really great, and it's actually a really good segue into this. How do you? So you're one of the newer generation of skaters that has a job,
right?
There's definitely that generation that this was their job, and that isn't financially viable for most skaters anymore. I would say maybe less than 1% are able to support themselves through skating, just because there isn't that money, What the question was how do you balance out professional life and skating life? Like, how do you manage to find time to skate and improve and do the photo shoots and stuff like that, but still keep a full-time job?
I think it started out like when I first got my job with my employer. I worked for Siemens. It's like a huge electronic manufacturing company. I worked in Atlanta, and I worked my job title was like, I was called a bid coordinator. I don't know if no one's going to know what that is, but basically what I did is like, I created electrical plans for commercial buildings, apartment complexes. Like, I would lay out all the electrical plans, like basically in our software program. And so that required like long hours, like in the office. Like, I'd have to go 8 to 5. And at that time, like, it was so difficult. Like I every day I would barely have enough energy to go to the skate park. I'd probably only skate maybe like 2-3 times a week, which to some people is a lot, but to me that was like nothing.
Sure.
And like, I would only film maybe once a weekend. And then I basically from that point, I made a choice. I was like, I need to find a job that not only like complements my career, with what I'm doing professionally, but also my skating career. Like, what can help me kind of do both? And so I started applying for positions, and I wound up like getting an offer for this job out in California to run. Like, what I do now is I'm essentially like an account manager for Siemens. I handle all of like are retail accounts like Home Depot, Amazon, Lowe's, Ace Hardware. And I'm essentially like visiting these places, visiting Amazon, visiting Home Depots, visiting Lowe's, and like just managing our products that go into these accounts.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I travel a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say that makes sense with the jet lag.
Okay. Yeah. And so this allows me to have, when you have a position where you travel a lot, you have a lot of downtime because like my company does not expect, I don't work a 9 to 5.
Sure.
I work my own hours. I say to people, I work 24/7. I'm always like, I just answered an email while we were talking,
Sure.
So with that comes also a lot of flexibility. So, I get up at, 8 a.m. on a weekday. I don't necessarily have to go and visit a customer right away.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could plan that spot later on, or right now I'm not visiting any customers, but
sure.
Before COVID, like I plan it out and like say I'm like, oh, okay, on Wednesday from 8 till 11, I'm going to go skate in the morning and then go do my work. And maybe some of that time will be later on in the night. Like maybe I won't be done till 7 o'clock. It doesn't, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that this position allows me to skate every day and skate on my terms, my hours. And then also obviously I have the weekends and stuff like that. And because of the travel benefits, I'm able to meet up with lots of people, it's only on the West Coast. So like San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, LA, Vegas, Arizona, that's why I'm always able to like film and do little things at these places. And so it was basically me creating the position, not creating, but like creating the vision of the position I wanted. And it just kind of worked out, and I couldn't be happier because like it works out great.
Yeah.
I'm able to balance both of them. And yeah, there's some days where like it's crazy and I can't skate, but it's very rare
sure.
nowadays, especially now,
yeah,
because I'm not able to travel, I'm doing everything from my home office. So like I can get out any day I want. And now that I built a P-rail, I have it in my car all the time. So like I have a spot I can take it to and like it's on. Like it's on.
That's awesome. I think that's kind of the way that jobs are going. And again, it's kind of a testament of being that new generation skater. You're also that new generation of job where you're not in the 9 to 5. I am in a similar boat. We definitely have, as like an engineer, we have stand up and we have times when we need to be there, but it's a get your job done sort of mentality.
Yep.
And if I feel like going for a skate at noon, I go for a skate at noon. If I need to pick up the kids from school because one of them's sick, I do that. I think the bigger companies, especially the more tech the companies are, the more open they are to work-life balance, and they understand it.
Sure. My boss thinks like I showed her my promo actually. She was like,
"Oh no way!"
She thought it was so cool.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
She was like, like she was super stoked on it. So yeah, I mean, of course, that's another big thing is like finding a company that appreciates like the work-life balance. Like, cause some managers, some, CEOs in this world, like they just want their employees to be 100% focused on work.
Sure.
And I think that's kind of like an old school mentality. Like that's like a, 80s, early 90s mentality. And yeah, that might've led to like more higher productivity. But the reality is like when your employees are happy, they're going to take care of their jobs better. Like that's just my opinion. So I think the new Siemens culture like understands that, and that's what they kind of push on us, and it's good. And I appreciate that like they value that, like, cause I wouldn't be staying like working with that kind of a job if that wasn't valued for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. It sounds like a perfect situation for you. Do you really skate every day? Like, what does a skate session look like for you? Like an everyday skate session?
It's 6 days of the week. Like if I'm happy, like if I'm lucky, like I always take one day off. That's actually my girlfriend taught me that because there was like a time period where I was getting like really sore and like I wasn't happy. And she's like, yeah, you need to take time to let your body rest. And she showed me all this science behind like how resting is just as important as like training and stuff like that. And
absolutely.
So like right now, usually it's like 3 days out of the week, I'll skate P-rail because I find like going and skating my P-rail for 2 hours is like almost just as effective as going to a skate park because majority of the skate parks are like plaza style skate parks. So they're just grinding obstacles anyways. And I'd rather skate my P-rail where I can actually learn things like and progress. Whereas like some of the skate park obstacles are like, they're kind of sketchy and weird. And like, you can get kind of hurt on them, even though they're kind of small. This is like kind of what happened to me in March, why I couldn't come originally to film the promo because I was going up this little rail at a skate park, like topsail, and I missed just randomly, and I smashed my shin into the cross beam and had to get 9 stitches. Yeah, like it was a huge gash. Like it was, like I
saw it. Yeah, it was great.
And he was like, "Oh no!" Like, so you know, in my eyes, it's like I don't feel you need to skate hard things all the time to skate big things in the streets. You just have to finesse. You know, what you know. And so like, it'll usually be like 3 times P-rail, maybe like 1 day a week. I'll go to a skate park now, like during COVID, like that might even get erased soon too, though, because like the skate parks have been getting insane with people and I'm like, not really comfortable with that. And then it'll be 2 days a week. Like it'll be like maybe half a day on the weekend and then a full day on the weekend. So like half day Saturday, full day Sunday, vice versa. Of street skating. So it just depends. Like it just depends on schedules. Like, you know, like some days like I'll meet up with Dave. Some days I'll just skate with like homies. It just depends. Like it varies.
Do you think that's normal for skaters at your level? Like,
well, Alex skates every day. Like out Broscow every day. Yeah, he's told me that like multiple times. Like he's always out skating. Like even if it's only for like 45 minutes, like he's always out. So yeah. Like, I mean, if you want to be the master of your craft, like, you know, you gotta, like Andrew Broom told me he skates like every day. You know, some guys like they pride themselves on not skating every day. That's fine. But I mean, the people that I've met like throughout my life, like when I used to go to the Razor's house, like to film like back, you know, a couple of years ago, like when they brought us out and they had a house, like Brian was going every day. Like he'd go to the gym every morning or maybe 4 times a week. Sorry, not every morning. And then he'd go to the warehouse after and skate the down ledges from like 10 till like noon. And then he'd either skate street or relax, whichever, if his body was feeling. But all like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he would always be out filming. So
that's why he's so good.
Yeah. I mean, it's like,
he's the prince.
Yeah.
It's like, I think the reality of skating is like, and this is just my opinion. I don't know if people will agree, but it's repetition breeds success. Like, and I learned that at a young age. It's like, you go out there and do something 5,000 times, it's going to stick. Like it just will. And it's important, you know, and it also, that's kind of how you build your style. That's how you build like your way of approaching things. And, you know, some skaters, like there's some that like, they don't practice and they just can go out and lace things. And that's awesome. Like more power to them. Like, that's great. I wish I could be that way, but I'm one of those people that I need to do a trick 10,000 times before I'm ready to like bring it on something big. So
sure. And I think it's reassuring to hear that Brian did the same. Like, you know, you would see the guy with his shirt off and you're like, wow, he's ripped. I wonder what's going on. Because none of the other skaters in that generation were ripped. And it's like, oh, because he works out like 4 times a week, and he's like focused on this.
Shit.
Yeah.
In the Razor's house days, it was like him, Julian, Dre. Murda was there for a little bit, but like Murda then got his like new job, like his CGI and all the stuff that he creates now. So he had to leave. But like when I would go out there, like Aragon was in the gym every day. Dre was like the partier, the hype man, you know, which is fine. Like
everyone has a role, right?
That's what he brought to the brand. And then J-Ba was like the new, like, young age pro, and he was just out skating and just like enjoying his life. So yeah, Aragon was like that super like Michael Jordan, you know, motivated, you know, skater.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. When did you start writing for Razors, and when did you stop writing for Razors?
I stopped 2 months ago.
Okay,
that's easy for me to remember. 2000. It was the end of 2009.
Okay.
I got like so it was weird. Like I was riding for Ground Control Flow.
Okay.
Through my skate shop sponsor, Asphalt Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, like this is at the time where like Razors had multiple reps in areas. So like Jeff Akers, I didn't even like talk to Jeff Akers. There was this guy, Mac McMeans. He was like running all the East Coast stuff for Razors. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you knew him, Law.
I know the name, but I don't know of him. That's a very familiar name. I'm assuming that I'm not mixing it up with Matt Mickey, but I might be.
No. Yeah, different guy. So Mac, he just like approached me and was like, he just asked me like, you know, about skating and like about skates that I was riding. And at the time I was on Volo, and like, but Volo was like kind of exploding, and like,
mm-hmm.
So like, I'm trying to say this without being negative. I just think Jon had so much going on. He couldn't really like, it was hard for him to like take care of the flow team, take
mm-hmm.
care of his AM and pro team. You know, it had nothing to do with like, I felt neglected or anything. It was just like, it was hard to get in touch with him. And, you know, I get it. Like you know, Volo was just starting.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't, you know, he's trying to take care of the pros, which is the most important part, you know?
Sure.
And so like, he couldn't get me stuff like maybe as fast as I wanted. And I was really naive. I was young. I was only like 18 when I got on Volo.
Sure.
And so when Mac like approached me, he was just like, how are things riding for Volo? And I was just like, it's been kind of tough. Like I wasn't able to get skates or something like that. I don't remember. But he just was like, oh, do you want these Aragon 3s? There's like the white Aragons. And I'm like, sure, why not? I'll give them a go. And
mm-hmm.
I put them on and I got them, and like 2 days later, and I was like, whoa, like I forgot how good these were, because I used to have Razors before I rode Volo.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, these are nice. And I just like kept skating them, and I went to some contest in Gainesville, Florida, which is,
mm-hmm.
don't get me started about that place, but that's like the middle of nowhere, Florida.
Is it?
Yeah, like it's just like swampland.
Oh, wow.
And they just had some big event there it was the powwow was going on, and like
mm-hmm.
they were having qualifiers for it, like for the pro comp. So I just went to this contest and I did like really well. And
mm-hmm.
Jeff Akers was like at the contest.
Oh, no way.
And I hadn't really like, I didn't think I was on Razors. I just was like, you know, skating the skates, you
mm-hmm.
know, like he gave me a pair of skates, and cool, you know, like I'm just skating them.
Sure.
And Jeff comes up to me. He's like, oh yeah, we're stoked to have you on. And I was like,
oh,
what? Like,
I guess there's that.
and then like the next, like the day after the contest, he like added me to like some team email list, and yeah, that's just how it began.
That's awesome.
that was like 2009, I think.
It's kind of a cool story, because you didn't know that you were like, there were scouts in the audience. You know what I mean? You were just playing for the love, you know?
I mean, I knew Jeff before, like I had met him, you know, a couple times, but like,
sure.
I didn't know that like him and Mac were like talking to each other. So yeah, it was like kind of crazy, and I was just like, yeah, sick. And then like, it was funny because like that was like, I don't know if that was like Razor's heyday, but that was like the heyday for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like they came out with that white one, and then right after they made a limited edition with like red inserts, like
mm-hmm.
Aragon 3 LE or whatever. And so I get home, and he's like, oh, we're going to send you these other, like these new skates. So like I get home, like I've had these skates maybe like 3-4 weeks, and then now I'm getting a new pair of skates. I'm
mm-hmm.
just like, whoa, okay. Like sick. Like, this is awesome, you know?
Sunshine for life.
Well, especially coming from Volo, where, I mean, I know just from listening to the Mushroom Blading podcast with John when he started them, Rosie's wasn't a huge help. Like, he was doing a lot. And that's got
a very big plate, and it was very full.
That's gotta be tough.
It was all him, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it was all John. So, like, I get it, man. Like, I get, like, it was hard to, like, keep up with emails and, like, keep everybody happy. And, like, I sent him a really nice email, like, just, like, thanking him for everything. And, like, I had no hard feelings. Like, I was not upset about, like, leaving. I just was like, this just was, like, a better opportunity for me. And, like, also just, like, the way that their, like, image was going wasn't really forming to, like, my style of skating. So I was like, you know, I should go where, like, my attributes are highlighted. And, you know, that's just what I did, you know? And, like, they're, like, me and John are still, like, friends today. Like, actually, like, Dave was just talking about setting up a session with me and John. So
nice.
Like, yeah, it's like, it's awesome. Like, I'm, you know, I have nothing but respect and admiration for him. So
no, he's
like,
by one of the hardest working guys in the sport, without a doubt.
Sure.
A lot of respect for him. It sounds like you had, like, the introduction to razors that all kids dreamed of. You know,
kind of, yeah.
Like you were Brink. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, here's some cool skates, and it's like, oh, cool, I'll try them. And then the scouts are in the audience. They might be watching, and they happen to be in the audience. And then they're like, hey, kid, here's some new stuff. And it's like, this is amazing.
The first 3 years were pretty unreal because, like skates would just show up at my house. Like, that was really, like I didn't think that, like, they would just come. Like, I would just, like my mom would just be like, I'd be at school or something, and my mom's like, oh, you got, like, a big package from Sunshine. I'm like, okay. I come home, like, skates, liners, all the clothes and everything, and I'm like, whoa, like, and I'm just, like, flow at the time. And
sure.
And then, like, it was cool because at the time then they were doing team edits, so, like, they would always include us. They're like, oh, send your clips here. And you know, there were some shitty parts to that too, but I mean, like, for the most part, I thought it was fucking awesome. And then I remember, like, one Christmas I get, like, this random package, and there's, like, a Christmas card, and they sent me, like, it was the first time they sent all the riders backpacks with, like, their names on it.
No way.
And that was that was sick. And I have I think three of them now. Like, you know, that's what Andy used to do. He used to, like, send the riders, like, bags with their names on them, just, like, to thank them, like, for their, you know, for what they did. And I mean, like, for a flow, like, am skater, like, that meant a lot, you know. It was like, it's like that little touch, like, hey, like, you know, I know we're not paying you, but, like, you know, we value what you're doing for the brand. And that to me, like, stood out, you know.
Absolutely.
For sure. I love that. So yeah, they stopped doing that, unfortunately, but I mean, you know, that was cool in the beginning for sure.
Do you remember the first edit that you were in?
I did, like, an intro edit when I got on, like, a Reuters podcast. And then I think my first, like, come out was, I did, like, one in 2013, and that one's pretty popular. If you go on their YouTube, that's, like, one of their higher viewed edits. Like, I started out, like, I hurricane fished this, like, down rail, and it's, like, in La Jolla somewhere. But that one, like, was a big one for me. And then they're just, like, there's various ones, like, I don't really, like, I think the first one was definitely, like, that intro that I made. And then after that, there were, like, a bunch of random ones I was in, like, team edits and, you know, skate releases and stuff. And then, but that, like, 2013 was, like, where I made, I think, my mark of, like, hey, I'm on razors now, you know, like, I'm legit on razors, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Was that one in Butch's, Roll Minnesota Butch, his montage?
Yeah.
That's the first time that I saw that. That's the first time I saw that edit.
I have, like, the white Silhan skates on in that edit.
Okay.
They're like the white. They were, like, the only white skin skates they ever made. Yeah.
Weren't the Team Genesis ones white, or were they, like, a silver gray?
They were, like, gray and then, like, white, like, top parts. But a lot with the Genesis was, like, it wasn't really a soft boot around the whole skate. It was just like that top part and a little bit of the side of the skate.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like the SLs, they actually like covered almost
the majority
the
of
boot.
the skate. Yeah.
Yeah. With like a soft material. I miss those. It'd be sick if they brought those back. I mean, not that I skate for them anymore, but I mean, it's just like, it was definitely like a cool thing. I think Andy said to me that nobody likes soft boot skates anymore or doesn't like the material a couple of years ago. But I always thought like they were so sick. Like like every one that they ever did, like Quinny, Sneaky, Yuri, like all of them. I just always thought they were awesome. So.
Yeah, I think Corey's is probably the best. That was a great looking boot.
That was a great looking skate for sure.
And well, in Sohan, those are the two best.
Matthias was my favorite, and the only reason is because I was the first one on the team to get those, besides Matthias. And because the only reason I got them first was he flew me to some contest in Ecuador. This is like 2013, 14. And he's like, yeah, I want you to have these skates so that you can show all the people in South America. Because the event I was going to was like a pretty big deal in South America. And then I actually wound up winning the contest too.
No way.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's just like, I got like this, like all these people want these skates and I win the contest. And like, I was like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah,
that was a crazy experience. And then the weird part was, on the way home, the security tried to take my skates from me. Like the airport security in Guayaquil, they said that like they were not allowed on the plane. And I couldn't speak, like I spoke a little Spanish, but like I couldn't explain to them that like I brought these with me into the country.
Right.
Like how would that be an issue? And then luckily like one of the airline employees was going through security at the same time. And I remember that it was the same flight attendant from when I flew into Ecuador.
Oh, that's funny.
And I was like, hey man, I knew he spoke English. I was like, hey, can you explain to them? Like, do you remember me? And he was like, yeah. And he like explained to the guy, like, he's like, yeah, these aren't like weapons or anything. Like they're just rollerblades. And they called like this, like their manager or whatever. And he like escorts me downstairs. And what they did was they made me put it with my check bag. And the people who checked my bag were like this big military guy with a giant like M16 in his hand.
Oh
and
my
like,
God.
so he's like, he's like passport. And like, I give him my passport. he goes through all my stuff and puts the skates in. And he just kind of slams my bag down and zips it up. And he goes, okay. And then just like hands me my passport back. So,
that's awesome.
Like, I'm like freaking out. I'm having an anxiety attack and then I just get on the plane and go home. But like, it was like such a rise and then fall and right.
Yeah, like, man. I mean, you were dancing on a cloud, winning the comp with the new skates nobody's got. Team flies you down there.
I forgot to mention, I couldn't bring my check. I got like a big check. Like, they made like a big check for me or whatever. And like, I couldn't bring it home with me. They wouldn't let me bring it. Like I brought it, like I tried to check it and the Copa, the airline wouldn't let me check it. So I had to leave that in Ecuador.
Oh.
So someone in Ecuador might still have my
your
check.
big check.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I think it was only like 1,000 US. It wasn't a lot, but it was
good.
Still awesome. Yeah.
That is awesome.
So what do you put your feet in now?
Yeah,
what skates you skating now? And is that going to stick around for a bit, or are you just trying some things out?
It's funny because like someone messaged me today and was like, "So what are you skating now?" And I'm like, "Did you see the promo?" And they were like, "Yeah, like you're skating razors." And I was like, "No, I'm not."
Clearly didn't pay attention.
and then the person like looked at the promo again and was like, "Oh fuck." He's like, I'm sorry, John. Weed, LOL. And I'm like,
that's funny.
I'm just like laughing, like, oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. So I've had these adapts now for 2.5 months. I'm actually on my second pair. I tried the the ones I'm skating in my promo are the Rivales, like the vegan skate. And right now I have the Brutales, the regular carbon based ones. I just have I've had a good relationship with Peter, like just because the owner of Adapt, just because, Russell lives in San Diego. The whole Adapt team has come here. Peter's come here, and nothing's set in stone or anything. Like I'm not riding for anybody right now. But he's just been helping me pick out a skate, and he's letting me he's helping me with the free agent life, basically. So he just kind of I bought the Rivales, and I loved them. I loved how the transition was from Razors to those skates. But the problem was I ordered them too big. I had I'm a 9 in Razors, and you're supposed to ride a half size, full size smaller in Adapts than what you normally would be in a Razors. So my Rivales were a little too big for me. So I was having to tighten them super tight, and it was causing them to kind of get an outward flex. So I still skated them and I loved them. They were working great, even though I had some flexibility issues, but that's what I was able to do, all the stuff in the promo edit, and then the clips that were posted when my frame dropped. So they worked well, but I wanted to get a skate a little more stiff. And then I got the Brutales, and I'm going to see how they work out, going forward. I'm one of these people, I gotta really make sure things, work before I commit to them. So
sure.
It's been a really cool process though. It's been awesome.
I mean, you skated on Razors and for Razors for what?
11 years.
So that's a pretty good commitment.
And I was a little I'll be honest, when I first got these Adapts, I was nervous because I didn't know if I could skate a carbon skate. I had literally been on a plastic shell for 10 years, I didn't know how it was going to work. And I was nervous. I was oh, that's a lot of money that I just dropped, for skates. Will this work out, and it's been pretty good so far. I'm enjoying it. Definitely.
It's a very different skate. I mean, I don't know what the Brutales feel like, or the Rivales, but the ones that I have are the full carbon. They were a hand-me-down. The Brutale. Yeah. They were a hand-me-down that Steve Johns got, and I bought off of him because I loved them so much. It's hard, again, it's hard to put into words, and it's one of those, I think I remember you asking, I think you already bought them, and you were like, hey, maybe you're having buyer's remorse when they were on the way over. And you were like, hey, tell me how these feel, or, I don't know, am I going to like these? And I'm like, dude, they're very different. And I'm super glad that you tried them, because being on, like you said, the same plastic boot for 11 years, basically. Did you skate mostly SLs?
Yeah. I mean, I had maybe a year or two where I was on the shifts, but I couldn't skate the shifts because, they cause really bad side pains because the toe box was too narrow for me.
Sure.
So I eventually went back to SLs.
Because it's the skate for you. It's the skate that fits your foot good. And being on that skate for 11 minus 2 years and doing anything different would be a huge change, let alone Adapts, which are completely different than anything else on the market.
The one thing that was awesome to me was I'm not I was nobody to Peter. I wasn't I was just a customer, and he took the time, he called me, took the time to talk me through it. And that was another reason why I purchased them. It's just he took the time to talk with me and help me figure out, what I needed to skate. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad I skated the Revolve first, because even though it was way flexier, it was a good transition of me getting into the V cut, the lower cuff, and then figuring out how it rides, and then when I got the Brutale, like it didn't even feel like a new skate. It just felt like a stiffer version of what I was skating. So it was like better. And I was like, oh my God, this is like what I needed. And like, I'm like, oh, this is sick. And now I'm like, I'm able to start like doing the stuff that I've been wanting to do. So I'm like stoked to see like kind of what comes out of this. So we'll see.
We'll see in this thing with Dave Payne, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And down the road.
Down the road, right?
Well, you'll probably see like I'll probably have a RedEye promo next. So that will probably happen.
Oh, that's right.
Before Dave's thing. Because Dave's thing is like, we're taking our time.
Sure.
So we have no release date or exactly.
Sure.
But yeah, like my V2 RedEye wheel drops like mid-July, so I'll probably have something for that. I'm working on that right now. So that'll be in Adapts again. I mean, I'm not gonna hide behind it anymore. So
yeah.
I'll be skating Adapts in that promo.
Well, you look pretty solid.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Law had sent me like a behind-the-scenes sneak shot of you with Dave Payne and Jess Deerenforth, and I was just like, I'm looking, I'm like, those aren't razors. Really? Adapts? And so obviously I did, I wasn't going to blow your spot up and say anything to anyone, but like, it was really cool to see that because like, I really, really want to have Adapts, but I don't think I really want to skate them. I skated Guy Crawford's Hyper Skates at what year is it? And they have the comfort of any skate that I've ever had, but they still felt really nice, like close to my foot, like you're saying. But they were so stiff. Like it was borderline like impossible for me to really enjoy skating in for just the few minutes that I was in. But like I was impressed at how comfortable they were and how responsive and everything. But like I'm sitting there like extrapolating in my head, like, is this something that I really want on my feet for 45 minutes to an hour if I'm going to go out for a 10-mile skate? Because that's what I would use the Hyper Skate for. But it's just like, it's just not for me. But they look great. And every time we record one of these podcasts, I go into another like 4.5 hours of like, how bad do I want a pair of Adapts? And then I talk myself off the ledge.
The one thing I realized is you have to, I just think this is from personal experience, like, with these skates, you have to get your own and skate them. You can't, like, for example, like after I left Razors, Russell gave me a pair of his old ones to skate, and I fucking hated them. Like hated them. I was in foot pain, pressure points. They were they weren't working well for me, and I was like, I can't skate these, and like, I don't know. It was like a whole thing. But I'll be honest, like I didn't know if I was going to talk about this, but I'll just say it. Like one of the things is like that got me to get them was like Travis Stewart was like telling me about this and like telling me he's like if you want to make a change, if you want to like be significant in this industry, you have to like do something that like no one's going to expect. And he's like, you got to chase something that like, you want to go after and like what you like. And he's like, do you like those skates? And I was like, yeah, I love how they look. I love like how Peter presents them and everything. And he's like, go buy them and fucking skate them. And like, he's like, I guarantee you're going to have a better time adjusting the skates that are brand new than adjusting the skates that have been skated for 8 months by somebody else with a weird foot.
So that segues really nicely into you and RedEye. So in my eyes, having the passion so much that you're going to invest time and money into building a company is a huge step. I mean, you definitely didn't have to do that. What was the motivation behind RedEye?
Oh man, I think it was like more. Me and Buck would always have Ryan Buck Strauss. He's the owner and founder of RedEye with me. I don't own any of the pieces. I'm just the social media guy. He owns the company, but we both came up with the idea. I think we were just tired of like, we would have all these ideas, and a lot of these ideas we would push towards sunshine. Just to like make things better. And like we were always getting like told no and told no. And then like a year later, like a fraction of that idea would like come to fruition, but like have nothing included with us, you know?
Sure.
And I just told him, I was like, we got to do something. We got to do it like on our own. And at the time, like Sick was like, I was writing for Sick Urethane, and like, you know, Kevin was great. Kevin's a great guy. I love Kevin. I still am good friends with him, but he's not able to produce wheels as fast as like, I think he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so difficult to get wheels. And like, I found myself like I was actually like skating more Sunshine wheels than anything. I was skating ground control because I just couldn't get wheels from them. And so like, you know, Buck was telling me, he's like, I want to do something with blading. And I was like, well, we have all these friends and like all these people. We're like, let's do a wheel company. Let's do it like right. Like, let's do it. Let's pay our riders. Let's pay our riders royalties on each wheel. Let's pay them for their promo edits. Let's take care of like our AM team, not just like pick good skaters. Like, let's pick skaters on our AM team that we're going to build so that they become pros one day and get pro wheels, and like build a system, you know, like build a system of success. And so we carefully kind of like started, you know, creating the foundations of it, and Buck kind of like established a relationship with a manufacturer, and we just started building it. And and that last year it just kind of finally started to like fall into place, and we got the team together, and like we just started going from there. And all of a sudden we're in like February this year and we're sold out of wheels, and we made a lot for our first run for like a no-name wheel company. And we were just like, oh, okay.
It's a real thing.
We're doing this now.
Yeah.
And so now we're, you know, into end of June, and we're waiting on our second line, and it's big and 9 wheels, and we're expecting it to sell really well because like obviously the COVID thing has helped a lot with sales.
Sure.
But just the demand has been like super high, and that's just kind of how it began.
It's really cool. I know that you know, working with Buck on the bundle has been great. Being able to see some of the wheels, you know that you guys are working on new wheels, and you know, be able to get those on your frame as like a pro complete was always a dream of mine. And it makes it even better that you don't ride for 50/50 wheels, because then it makes it like more legit. That it's like it's really what he rides. It's not this pretend like, you know, oh, it's a pro wheel, but it really has nothing to do with what you actually ride. It's actually what you ride, and I thought that was great. I can't wait for the new line. I think it's going to be a huge success. The market is definitely hungry for new wheels, and your first line, and you had a 1.5, right? Was that just on your wheel?
Yeah. So the thing was we sold out of my first wheel so fast. We just were getting a huge demand for 60s, and we also had a carrier shop in Texas approach us. They wanted to do a collab, and like we were just like, we got to make like a certain amount of wheels. So like, you know, Buck hit me up. He's like, do you want to do your wheel in black and then collab the other half of the line with carriers? And I was like, at first I was a little nervous because I'm like, I don't know if that's going to sell. Like, I don't know. And we were like, okay. And then also at the time we added Chris Farmer, and he was like, we want to get a Farmer wheel out because everyone's asking for it. But then all of a sudden they're gone. Like my wheels sold out before COVID even started. Like, and carriers are sold out now. So like it was crazy. Like I didn't expect that like at all. Like I had no expectation of selling out that fast. So
it's such a great feeling.
It was rad. And like I loved like how like that first wheel was like the culmination of what I wanted on a wheel forever. Like it was like I had 100% creative control of designing it with his brother, who is our designer. And so it like really kind of worked out.
And so the new line has the same wheels plus an anti-rocker, right? Is that correct?
On this line, we added the anti-rocker for Jason, 64s for Jared Banning.
64, that's right. Yeah.
And then the 72 wheel as well.
Got it. Very cool. How was the anti-rocker development?
So I'm skating it right now. I told him, like, I said to him, I go, if we make an anti-rocker, it has to be different. We cannot I was like, we can't do a UHMW. There's so many people have done that. I was like, we can't do like a rounded urethane, like Eulogy or Undercover. And I was like, we can't make it like semi-round, like dead. I was like, we need to come up with something. And like, we had just always been like under the, like people had told us like the Higgs boson was like their favorite anti-rocker, the mind game, one. And so like, we were like, okay, like, let's see what we can do with this. And we brought the sample of the Higgs to the manufacturer, and they were like, okay, like we can do this, but like, we just can't make it like, so it's the same like profile and everything. It's just not cut in like the diagonal, shapes in every, it's just pointed like that and then flattened off. So it's still the same type of like anti-rocker. It's just not diagonally cut, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And like, so far, like it's been great. Like the wheel looks like really good. And I'm skating them right now and they're actually black, which is cool. But like the actual ones are going to be white and with Jason's logo on it. So I'm even more excited for that. Cause like, I love when the anti-rockers match the wheels. I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
So they'll be a lot closer to my wheel than like a black anti-rocker would. So that's going to be awesome.
Very cool. And when do they come out in July as well?
Thing is like, we had a little delay. Like, I mean, COVID is just like,
yeah.
The problem is like manufacturer, like the guys who run it are working full time, but like the people who work for the manufacturer are making more money on unemployment than they would if they were working right now.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So they're like not in a rush to get back. And that makes sense. I can understand that, it's trying times, like,
sure.
It's, you don't want to go to work and risk yourself. I get it. So they're also, they were delayed on getting, all the supplies to make the pour and everything. So, mid-July is like the set date. So it's good on mid-July. It was supposed to be early July, but now it's mid-July.
Cool.
But yeah, it's the fact that we can get wheels. I'm just hyped, like
I was gonna say.
we're in such uncertain times right now. Like that's why I'm like so hyped on the frame. Cause like, dude, I was so scared that like China was going to come back and tell you like, oh, the molds are there, but no one's working in the factory or something. You know what I mean? Like something like that. So I'm like really glad that like we still were able to hit deadlines with that.
We didn't, if you really want to know. Like I ordered them in like October. When did we decide this? Like it was a long time ago that we started talking about this.
October, late November, yeah.
So I mean, and I don't know how the wheel manufacturing.
I was in South Africa when you placed the order.
I remember that. Yeah. Was that with jet lag?
Yeah. I remember because I got the text and I said to the group, I was like, get in the frame. and everyone was like, yeah. I'm like, you can't tell anybody.
Yeah, don't tell anybody for 6 months.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, 8 months that we've been sitting on that?
Yeah.
And I don't know if every manufacturer is different. The terms that I have, because frames are expensive, the terms that I have with the frame company is 50% down, 50% when they're done with production. Typically with wheels, I do 100% paid. So it might be different for everybody. Again, it's different relationships. But I had that 50% just sitting there for like 8 months. And I'm like, I mean, that's just money I can't, like, it's just going to sit there. Like, they're not going to be able to produce frames. They were supposed to be done in January, I think. Like, late January. And we were supposed to launch, I think, if you remember, we were going to launch either in March or like late February or March. And it's like, nope, we're not doing anything in March. Like, there's nothing, there's no frames coming in March.
Because if you, I think Ben probably noticed this, like in the promo, the shots are not with my V2, they're with the 1.5 because we had thought in that time frame they were going to come out with the 1.5 because that's what we were going to have. But then everything got pushed and all that stuff. But it in the end of the day, it worked out, and it's going to work out great. And I'm just like super stoked that everyone wants that bundle pack. So, I mean, I get messages every day that someone's bought it. So
the bundle has been the number one seller. I wasn't surprised because, again, I think people want to support you. And I think that they love the idea that there's a pro model setup. Like, this is the frame that you ride, and this is the wheels that you ride. Like, if you could get a pro model boot and put this on there, that would be perfect. But you can't because you don't have a pro model boot. But let's do the next best thing. And I think that more companies should do it. Like, I don't know. There's not that many frame companies out there, I guess, that would do it. Like, I can't see Ground Control doing like an undercover wheel on somebody's frame, or you know what I mean? Like, it's interesting because I'm a third party, right? But it's got to happen. Cultic's got to do it.
I had asked Andy about before I left Razors. I planted the idea because I told him, like, I was like, hey, I'm coming out with a frame and like I'm coming out with a wheel, and I was like, you know, maybe we could do like some collaboration, like not necessarily like it was not like giving me a pro skate, but just like maybe like a setup where like you don't have ground control frames and ground control wheels, just like 50-50 frames with my frame and RedEye wheels, like just to kind of offer some diversity like in the marketplace. Cause like, you know, just I'd noticed a lot of people on Razors rocking 50-50 frames, and he was like open to it. Like, he didn't just say like no, he just was like, you know, he looked at it and he looked at the margins, and I guess like the margins like just didn't make sense for him, you know, for him to like do that. And then also like the labor that goes into like putting those frames on the skates, like it wouldn't be something like that China could do. It would be like he'd have to ship everything to Vista, and then someone would have to assemble them. So I totally like understood that, but like we tried to talk about it. We tried to make something happen like that. And it's funny because like I think it was Chad Tannehill posted his setup like with my frames, and like he has like he has RedEye. I think they're prototype wheels, which he wasn't supposed to post, but it's okay. It's okay, Chad. And someone like 5 people messaged me. They're like, "This should have been like your pro skate setup."
Yeah, the white like, SLs, right?
Yeah, and I was like, it's okay. Like, whatever. It's like, it looks great. They look great. Like the frames look great on the skates, and I'm like, I hope that if I can help more Razor skates sell, that's cool to me. Even though I'm not on Razors anymore, you know, I just want the industry to grow, and like that's the only way it's going to happen. So
I think that's absolutely it. And I totally understand the margins thing. It has always been difficult to work with skate manufacturers because we all need to make our money, right? Nobody's in this just, you know, to give product away. We've all got to make a little bit of money, and I totally understand the position. Like there is a demand out there. I think that's the takeaway. People love supporting you, and they love supporting pro skaters, and they want to do everything that they can to get like, this is part of like you, like this is like the thing that you vouch for. Like, this is my setup. Like, you're gonna enjoy this setup, and you're like seal of approval. You know what I mean? Like that means something to people.
Definitely. And like I said, like the support has been amazing, and I'm like really stoked that I was able to pick a colorway that I like. Like we had gone, I think, back and forth on this for a little bit because like, when you originally like proposed me the idea, I was just like, I want white, that's just what I always want. I was like, I want white,
Sure.
White is like I love white frames on skates. I don't know why, just always have. And you were like, yeah, but I do white frames already. And I'm like, okay, well, what if we did like an off-white, like a cloud white or a cloud gray? I don't know. What was the final colorway called? Was it called like cloud white or cloud gray?
I think I've been selling it as cloud white, but really it's,
okay.
I mean, it's cool gray 1. It's like as light of a white as we could, a light of a gray as we could get until it was not white. Like if you hold the two frames, the white frame and the Fromm frame next to each other, you can see that they're very different.
Yeah. But it the cool thing about it is like it complements anything. Like I've seen it on Derek's skate. I've seen it on the SL White. Someone posted today on, I think it was a pair of carbons. It wasn't like the new ones, but it was like an older pair, and it looked really sick. And then it looks great on my adapts. And Buck just got his and put them on shifts, and they look great on shifts. So
sweet.
I mean, yeah, it's like,
it's a great color.
It's a good color. It doesn't have to, when you get into those weird colors, you're always like, well, what skates will these go on? And I didn't want that to happen at all. I wanted this to be a frame that anybody could put on any type of skate and go, okay, it looks sick.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to tell me twice. I brought out yellow frames when everybody was making blue skates. It took the gray 909 for people to buy all the yellow frames. Like, I swear, I've sold more yellow frames in the last 3 months than I did all of last year.
I've tried to make those frames work on like 10 pairs of skates. Like, tried them on like SL Blacks. I even tried them on my navies for a little bit. Put them on my all black adapts, and it just never. I don't know.
It's a lot.
Yellow just doesn't work for me.
It's a lot.
And I remember one time I bought a Lakers jersey, like a LeBron jersey, and it was actually too small. And my girlfriend looks at me and she goes, "You can never wear yellow." She's like, "Yellow looks like shit on you." So
there you go.
I can't do yellow. Let's just put it that way. And I'm glad she was honest with me. Like, honestly,
I was gonna say that's a keeper.
No, for sure. Yeah, like she's a hairstylist. She knows.
Oh, there you go.
Good.
Yeah. And what doesn't?
And what doesn't? Exactly.
Well, it's been great having you on. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to?
I mean, unless you had like more questions, like
the 2 questions that I got from the Patreon were about the work-life balance and the wanting to hear more about the background behind RedEye. And I think you did a pretty good job with those. If you wanted to talk a little bit more, I can definitely ask more questions about it. But
no, that's it. That's it for me. I mean, unless you guys had any other questions. I know Ben could ask me questions all day.
Yeah, we could be here all night.
Of course I could.
We'll be here all night with that.
So I do have one question.
Go for it, Ben.
This one. So what part of San Diego are you in? Because I was stationed in San Diego for a few years, and the only place that I really skated was the little park that they threw together in Oceanside, the one that was on the water. Then there was the one in Vista that I skated that was by the fire department and the police complex. Yeah. And then Escondido. Those are the only 3 places I really skated when I was out there.
So
what part are you in? I was in the Coast Guard. So I lived, so I was right off of 94 where the Home Avenue ditch is. And I didn't realize.
Did you go to the naval, or did you go to the coast, like actual coast, like on the harbor? Is that where you were at?
Yeah. So the Coast Guard had a small station that was all the way out in Ballast Point. Like if you take Rosecrans all the way out to the Navy base, if you keep going through the Navy base, the Coast Guard at the time had a small warehouse there that I ran, and I supported 3 patrol boats with all their parts for like.
Is that in like Point? Is that in Point Loma, or is that like, because there's another Coast Guard part next to the airport too?
Yeah, and I worked there also.
Okay.
So there was technically Point Loma. Like the very end of it is actually called Ballast Point.
Right.
So that I worked there. Yeah, that was after I left that they started, which is a damn shame because they made some really, really good stuff like that. That a jalapeno sculpin, or was it the habanero? Either way, that shit's delicious.
So I'm in downtown, but I am like literally 2 blocks from where Little Italy starts. I don't know if you remember Little Italy.
I do, yeah. That was my favorite place to walk around.
Yeah, it's a great place to walk around. So I live in a high rise, like about 2 blocks from Little Italy in downtown San Diego. I can walk to the coast, like where the Star of India, and I'm about like maybe a 10-minute walk from the Midway. Naval ship. So that's like, I'm like, not the heart of downtown, but like right on the edge.
That's a great location.
I like, we lucked out with this place. Like it has a great view, centrally located. And then my girlfriend's salon is only like 5 blocks away. So she walks to work. So she doesn't have to drive. So that's really like a big thing for us. But in terms of like skate parks, they've built so many since I even moved here. Like there's like 5 new ones. It's kind of crazy. That's the one good thing about being in like skateboard Mecca is like you get a lot of new skate parks, even though like the people at the skate parks aren't the nicest people. It's still,
we can talk about that too, if you want.
Oh man. I almost wanted to bring it up because there's been a lot of things like posted on like Instagram about like a lot of blader haters and
Weasel face.
Yeah, dude.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, and it's just something that like I had to definitely like get used to when I moved out here. Like there's like one skate park in particular, like Ocean Beach. Like I can't go there by myself. Like just I've had too many run-ins with like skateboarders. Like I mean, just like getting in my face like for waxing a coping down ledge that they don't even skate. And it was to the point where like the 5th time it happened, and I was like, it's not worth my safety anymore. Like I can go somewhere else and just skate and just have fun. So it's definitely like a weird thing out here, like getting used to like a lot of like blader haters and stuff like that. But there's also a lot of skateboarders that have a lot of respect for us, and I've met a lot of them too. And so I'm glad that like there at least is a start of like people respecting everyone. And I'm starting to see that even in the pro skateboard community. And even in the BMX community too. So, it's getting better, but out here you see it full throttle.
Yeah, I definitely believe that. Like I've mentioned it before, there's a skate park out here that I can't even go to as a rollerblader. Like the city does not allow anyone that's not a skateboarder in there. And it's frustrating because like I pay taxes in the state of New Jersey, and the city will eventually benefit from that. So why the fuck can't I use a public park?
It's horrible.
It's really frustrating.
And it's one of these things that I never really like encountered as I grew up in Florida, because like, I mean, you'd have like your skateboarders that would get mad for waxing, of course. I understand that, especially if they're skating it. I always try to be courteous and not wax things that like someone else is skating. I usually only do it if like I'm the only one skating it. But like out here, like it's like you just walk into a skate park and you're already getting like bitched at or getting stared down, or like they're trying to figure out ways to like get you out of there, like either by like snaking you or like cutting you off midline, or like they see ways like they can kind of like mess with you to kind of get into your head. And it's crazy that people spend that kind of energy just to like get some person out of the skate park when like that one person isn't doing anything to negatively affect them. Like me being there is not hindering them landing tricks. Like they're usually at the other side of the park doing something. So it's a very like new concept to me that I'm just like, what the fuck? Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Like I didn't get messed with a lot when I was out there because I was in really, really good shape because I was, I was active duty and I was working out all the time. Yeah. Of course. So like I'd walk into the skate park and like inevitably I'd have, a cutoff t-shirt because it's hot, it's humid and everything, and I put my helmet on, put my skates on, and like people would look at me like, fuck are you doing here? You're the only rollerblader here. Why don't you leave? And I'd just be like, and I would just skate. Yeah. No one would ever mess with me. Like the only time like now I have like anxiety about going to a skate park that has more than 2 people in it because I know that someone's going to say something to me. And like, I'm not in the shape that I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as good at rollerblading as I used to be. So I'm worried that at one point there's going to be this group of, 17-year-old dudes that show up and see me and be like, oh, fuck this fat piece of shit. Let's ruin this guy's life and beat the shit out of him with our skateboards. Yeah. Like, I do worry about that. And like, I've left skate parks. Yeah. I've left skate parks 10 minutes after I got there because too many people were there. And I was like, I'm not comfortable now.
Look at what happened to Michel Prado in Barcelona. Like, I mean, he was skating a skate park and like he waxed like some little thing and some dude just decided, I'm going to take my board and smash him in the face and put him into a coma. Like, I mean, it's incredible the amount of hatred with some people. It's like, wow, like you can't think that you could, destroy someone's life with your hatred. Like it's unreal. Like there's no place for it. And there needs to be systematic change. Like, I mean, I could go on and on about this all day, but it's super unfortunate for sure. And bums me out, definitely. But I have a funny story about like running into skateboarders with Dave. So I'm at UCI and I actually wasn't with Dave. I just left filming with Dave. UCI is like that famous college in Irvine. Mm-hmm. I think everyone knows it. It's got those like the weird down rails in the line that like Feinberg skated and Julio and then it has the gap that Perquette did and a bunch of other ones, And I honestly we went there. We didn't go there to skate. We just went there Steve had never been there and Steve just wanted to look at it. Just wanted to see the spots. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So I just took him there and like we walked up and who do we see there? Nyjah Houston with like his like whole posse, like because he's filming like a documentary right now. And I was just like showing Steve the rail and like the guys are just like, they were like, what the fuck are these guys doing? And then they looked at us and they were like, do you guys BMX? And like, I was like, no, we rollerblade. And Nyjah was like, oh, cool. That's sick. Like, he's like, I like that Chris Happy guy. And I was like,
no way.
I was like, that's awesome. And I've actually seen Nyjah like post Chris Happy clips like on his story. So like, that's awesome. The thing is like, there is change coming, like, and it's coming from the top. And it's cool that like the top skateboarders are like respecting everybody. And like, I like to see that. And like, just the fact that like, I mean, we didn't have our skates on and he was just like, oh, cool. That's awesome. Like I respect that, like that means a lot. And like, I hope that, as more rollerbladers and more skateboarders see that, like they'll respect each other and like show that, same form of camaraderie that we should show each other, like I have lots of friends in the skateboard community. Like one of my good friends, he grew up with me at my home skate park is Jamie Foy. I don't know if you know him.
I know the name.
If you don't, I would YouTube him. He is like literally a skateboarder on like he skates all the spots we skate. Like big down rails, big kink rails. Like he's amazing. He has like a New Balance shoe that just came out.
No way.
Incredible dude. And like been friends with him forever. We trade spots all the time. And then I have a good homie in the BMX community, DeMarcus Paul. If you should definitely look up his videos because he does. Do you guys know San Diego? It's that disaster rail that Connor did 450 back rail.
Yeah.
On video. So like there's like 2 rails, and he transferred to the bottom one. Well, DeMarcus on a BMX bike grinded up both of the rails, like rail transferred up.
What?
If that makes sense. Yeah.
So that's insane.
Yeah,
oh my god!
Yeah, like go on YouTube and write DeMarcus Paul, and the section is called Headlights.
Okay.
And you will be blown away. I showed it to Connor O'Brien, and he lost his mind when I showed it to him.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
So the thing is like this is the kind of talks we need to have. And like DeMarcus has shared my stuff on his story, and like I share his stuff all the time. It's like we need this. Like we're all the same. Like we're all like. I know we're not doing the same thing, but we're all the same. And we're all like, all the stuff we do is crazy in the right mind. It's all super precise and like super like difficult. And like, there needs to be a mutual respect. And like, it's unfortunate like that there isn't in some people in the skateboard community. And I'm really glad like people like Greg Preston and Yandrell are like calling these people out. Like it's good. Like it's good to see that. I don't like to see people hating on each other. Like I don't want that to happen, but I think people need to be accountable like for their actions. And like if they're, you know, saying homophobic or racist or hatred remarks, like they need to be called out and like they need to be disassociated from skateboarding or, you know, whatever discipline. And so it's crazy to me that this has become a topic and it recently. And so like, I hope people know that like, it's not all of skateboarding. It's like, there's so many good people in skateboarding and there is a mutual respect for some of them. So, you know, just keep that in mind that there is change happening.
It's good. Be the change you want to see, right? Go out there, open arms, and
look at Jess D. Jess D is a BMX pro and a rollerblade pro. How many people have done that? You know, like
that's very true.
Yeah. So that's my like stance, and I'm sticking to it.
I think it's a good thing. I think we got to spread the word. One love.
Yeah. I realized this like not recently, but like I was in China last year for an event, like a random event I got invited to, and I was roommates with this guy Dylan Stark, and I don't know if you'll know him by when I explain what he's done, but do you know the name by chance?
I don't think so.
It sounds familiar.
He's the guy who jumped off the roof into El Toro, like the like when they cleared off the stairs and it was just dirt. He jumped off the roof into the bank.
Yeah, BMX guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh
and
my
so,
God.
Like, he was my roommate at this contest in China, and like I had no idea. And then we were like sitting at breakfast, and we just traded Instagrams. And I like looked, and the first clip on his Instagram is this like El Toro thing, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Oh, that's you.
Yeah, and so like the cool thing about the whole event was like the amount of mutual respect from skateboarding, BMX, rollerblading, scootering. Like it was so sick, and I'm just like, this is what we need. This needs to happen more. This is how like all of our sports can benefit and like grow stronger, and like ultimately like, you know, all of us could enter like the Olympics or whatever is available later on. But it's just that's what we need. So
yeah. Totally agree with that. Cool.
I just found Dylan's Instagram and this looks intense.
He's gnar. Yeah, he's great. Like he mostly does mountain bike stuff now, but I mean he's also like a BMX pro too. So he's like very well versed. And like this is where I get a lot of inspiration from too. Like I sometimes look to other sports for inspiration just because some of them have like a unique eye that maybe rollerbladers don't see. So
absolutely. Jon, it's been great. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. We really appreciate it. I think everybody's knows a little bit more about you now.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. What's when do you think this RedEye promo is going to come out? July as well?
If I want to make Buck happy, yes.
We always want to make Buck happy, right?
Will I make Buck happy is always
it's always another matter.
It's always another matter. Yeah. I mean, like right now, like it just depends. But yeah, I'm hoping. Like I've filmed enough like stuff that I think I can have it done by that. But I also have like another announcement coming from like it's not a skate brand, but it's something else coming. So that's another thing I'm working on too. So, but it's not a skate brand.
You can tell us and we'll just cut it out.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
No. If it's in the show, it's in the show.
Is that how it is? Like, can I say it now?
No, you can say it all. Edit this out.
So I'm writing.